Imagine this. Your name is XXNoobSlayer5000. You are back in the year 2010. Your parents didn't yet come back home from their holiday in Mallorca because a volcano erupted in Iceland. Alicia Keys, Tiny Temper and Black Eyed Peas top the music charts. You wake up well rested after a long night of gaming. No, horse masks weren't popular yet. What is that? Never mind. You get on the APB forums, as you would normally. No, RGB wasn't a thing back in 2010. You get on the forums and realize Realtime Worlds just went into administration. No more APB for you, buddy. The servers are about to be shut down. Your entire life is finished. What will you do now, you plead? Now imagine that this never happened. The tale of Realtime Worlds in All Points Bulletin is a sour one. An idea that would bring in a strong and dedicated fanbase. A developer consisting of an original creator of Grand Theft Auto and a budget of $100 million. Despite all this, APB in its original form is long gone, replaced by a spiritual successor, APB Reloaded. Reloaded being a name added by their new owners, Reloaded Productions, later also known as Gamers First. This story proves to anyone who dares to delve into it that you can have all of the pristine ingredients for a perfect cake and still end up having a sad layer, a part of the cake that is gluey and not well made. Nowadays, APB Reloaded finds yet another owner, Little Orbit, who, as the previous owners had done, promises a brighter future for this unpolished diamond of a game. It's like having a child that is a school genius beating everyone else at maths tournaments, and then ultimately they become a drug addict. The trick is to get them to stop taking drugs and also to start creating award-winning quantum physics theories. All in all, Little Orbit does not have an easy task ahead of them. Recently an idea came into my head. As a fan of alternate timelines in media and games, I had a thought. What if Realtime Worlds never went bankrupt? What if All Points Bulletin never had the issues it had? For this to happen, a few important changes would need to be made, and in my mind, two different outcomes could occur. Of course, as I do not know too much about creating games and the intricacies behind the process, I might be well far off what would happen. And my approach will be somewhat simple compared to the millions of variables possible, but I believe it's fun to theorize. For the purpose of this video, it's important to note that when I refer to APB by itself, I refer to the original RTW APB. When I say APB Reloaded, I mean the version that came out when Reloaded took over. In scenario number 1, Realtime Worlds isn't as ambitious when creating APB. They still input a lot of time and money into the game, but they simply don't go as far as spending $100 million on it. I believe that this is one of the main reasons, among simply bad administration of money, why RTW failed in the first place. If APB had been a less ambitious game, it's a chance that it would survive for much longer than it did. It's possible it would look entirely different than it did after its actual release, but it would be a lot more balanced and solid. Now, I do not predict the game itself would survive more than 4 years after that. Yes, RTW would still be a thing, but I believe APB would simply not gather enough of a fanbase to keep it going for 4 years. Especially if they had kept their subscription-based access to the game. This would mean that even though RTW would probably continue making games, APB would die entirely, earlier than APB Reloaded in our timeline. This also brings me to scenario number 2, in which the budget for the game stays the same, but instead of the subscription-based system, RTW would opt for a traditional buy once $40 to $45 price. And the equivalent of the armors market would still become a thing, with microtransactions as was and is the trend. And premium would be non-existent, as of all of its features would be available by default. I believe that there is a high chance that there is two possible outcomes here. In the first one, the game continues going for another 3 to 4 years, and ends up shutting down similarly to scenario number 1. Or it shuts down similarly to our timeline. One of the problems of RTW was that the subscription-based approach meant that there would be a lot more income if the game was popular enough for enough of people to consider getting it. The problem was that not many people actually did. Now, this could have been done this way to try and quickly regain the money spent on the game, as at this point RTW was already in a heap of trouble. This means that if they went with a standard pay once play forever approach, it's possible that more people would play the game, but in the end the amount of money they would earn would still be about the same due to the one-off payment system. In the end, G1 taking over and rebranding the game to APB Reloaded could have brought some good. I believe that with any scenario, if RTW would have stayed, we would not see APB reach 2019 like it currently did. We could, however, see the possibility of a successor of APB, like APB2, which would surely be something interesting. And to add to all of this, G1 did bring in a few things into the game, and even though they only exist in name now, as does RTW, and they're under the wing of Little Orbit, we should not see them for their endless unspent promises and the 100 years of engine upgrade development. We should see them as the ones who kept milking the cow that should have died a long time ago, and in doing so, they ensured that even though its existence is bleak, the cow still lives. And this is the end, guys. I hope that you've enjoyed this sort of theorizing of mine, and if you have your own comments about this, please, by any means, make a discussion down below. If you like this video, then leave a like. It always helps to know that someone has enjoyed my content, and if you've disliked it, I'm fine with a dislike, but please leave a comment as well telling me why, so I can possibly improve in the future. And that will be everything, and I'll see you next time. Peace? I know that I never say peace. Why would I say peace? Why have I done this?
Couple friends, yeah. This is like an old friend coming up, yeah, I know them. Locked up in the driveway.